ओ भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमो पंकजनाभाय नमो पंकजमालिने नमो पंकजनेत्राय नमस्ते पंकजाग्रये। हरे कृष्ण। So welcome all of you all for SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM overview series. So today we are discussing Canto 1, Chapter 6 called The Conversation Between Narada and Vyasadeva. So last week, in fact last two sessions, we were discussing Chapter 5, which was a long chapter and a very important chapter. So basically we saw in Chapter 5, so this is the quick review of what was there in Chapter 5. So in Chapter 5, Vyasadeva is asking Narad Muni basically what is the cause of his dissatisfaction. You all remember this? That's how Chapter 5 starts. And then Narad explains to Vyasadeva that the reason he is dissatisfied is because he is not sufficiently glorified Krishna. And then Narada from 8 to 22, these set of verses, he is emphasizing Vyasadeva and is inspiring him to write Srimad Bhagavatam, which describes only Krishna's pastimes. So we will not get into these verses, very beautiful section. And then 23 to 31, Narad Muni narrates his previous life to inspire Vyasadeva. And then he concludes by again telling Vyasadeva that please compile Srimad Bhagavatam, because Srimad Bhagavatam is the only book that will mitigate the suffering of people and give everyone happiness. So we were discussing this point that ultimately in life people are looking for two things. One, to remove suffering, they want to reduce their suffering, and they want to experience positive happiness. So both these things can happen by describing Krishna Katha or by hearing Krishna Katha. So Narad Muni concludes the section, the chapter, by advising Vyasadeva, please compile Srimad Bhagavatam, a book that describes only Krishna's pastimes and nothing else. So with this, Chapter 5 ends, and now we are entering into Chapter 6. So Chapter 6, I'll just give you a quick overview of Chapter 6 and then we will get into the verses. So Vyasadeva is asking further questions to Narada. So ultimately Srimad Bhagavatam is basically question and answers. So what is Vyasadeva's question? Now Narad Muni has described everything. He has described his life, he has described the importance of bhakti, importance of glorifying Krishna. So Vyasadeva is asking Narad Muni, after these sadhus left, we were hearing the previous life, na? These great sadhus came to Narad Muni, they gave him the seed of bhakti, they described to him the most confidential knowledge. So Vyasadeva is asking Narada, after they left, after you got initiation from them, what did you do? How did you pass your life after you met these sadhus or after these sadhus left from your house? So this is a very, very important question. We all get inspired by hearing someone's story of how they came in Krishna consciousness. So Narad Muni is telling how he came in bhakti. But more important than that is how someone followed bhakti throughout their life. So this is Vyasadev's question. And then Vyasadev is also asking Narada, how did you attain this spiritual body of Narada? And how did you remember something that has happened in a previous kalpa? You remember the story? What did Narada Muni tell Vyasadev? In my previous kalpa, that means the previous day of Brahma, I was son of a Shudra, maid servant. So Vyasadev is so alert. See, to ask questions also, you have to be alert to hear. So Vyasadev is asking Narada, how do you remember something that has happened in a previous kalpa? We forget something that has happened yesterday. How is this possible? So chapter 6 begins with these set of questions. So Narada now is speaking about his life after the sadhus left the ashram. So Narada says, he was a 5-year-old boy dependent on his mother. There is no mention of his father. Right? So the sadhus gave him the seed of bhakti and they left. But it so happened that his mother, his only mother, the only guardian, was bit by a snake. And the mother also passed away. So now this boy, he doesn't have a father, he doesn't have a mother, he doesn't have anyone now. So because he got the seed of bhakti, there is automatically renunciation in his heart. He moves to the northern direction. He walks towards the Himalayas. And when he is walking towards the Himalayas, he passes through different jungles and cities and different things we will see as we discuss. And then finally Narad Muni sits under a banyan tree and he starts to meditate the way the sadhus taught him. And he actually sees Krishna. But as soon as Krishna came, Krishna disappeared also. So this is section, verse number 11 to 19, this section where Narad Muni has the vision of Krishna and then that vision disappears. So Narada becomes very restless and he's trying to meditate again and again to see that form. But he doesn't see the form again. Krishna tells him, in this life you will not be able to see me. Why? Because you are still incomplete in your bhakti. And then Krishna tells him, now you practice bhakti throughout your life. In the next life you will get the body of Narada. So in this way, the Lord consoles Narad Muni, and Narad Muni, he spends his entire life chanting Hare Krishna, hearing about Krishna, completely in a spiritual mindset. He meets with his death and then he gets the body of Narada. And then the body of Narada is traveling everywhere with his veena, chanting the name of Krishna. So this is the section where how Narada leaves his body and he gets this spiritual body. And then finally, how Narada concludes and departs. So basically Narada concludes this section again by telling Vyasadeva that the most suitable boat for crossing over the ocean of birth and death is the constant chanting of holy name. And no other path other than the path of bhakti can give one satisfaction. So this is like a quick synopsis of the chapter. But as we get into the chapter, it will become a little more clearer for you. So let's get into the verses. Verse number 1. Suta uvacha evam nishamya bhagavan bhuya praprachatam brahma. Sorry, let's do it again. Suta uvacha evam nishamya bhagavan devarishe janma karma cha Bhuya praprachatam brahman Vyasa Satyavati Sutta. So here Sutta Goswami is explaining. So if you remember how Bhagavatam starts with the conversation between Sutta Goswami and the sages of Naimisharanya. So the main conversation is happening between Sutta Goswami and the sages of Naimisharanya. Now Sutta Goswami is describing to the sages of Naimisharanya another conversation. So Bhagavatam has conversations inside conversations. So the main conversation is between Sutta Goswami and sages of Naimisharanya, and they are describing the conversation between Narada and Vyas. So Sutta Goswami is telling the sages, when Vyasdev heard about Devarishi Janma Karma Cha, when Vyasdev heard about the life and activities of Narad Muni, he inquired as follows. And what was his inquiry? Text 2. Vyasa uvacha Vibhukshubhir vipravashite Vijnana Tishtabhitava Vartamano Vayasi Ade Tata Kim Akarod Bhavan. What is Vyasadev's question? My dear Narada, what did you do after the sages departed? After they gave this scientific knowledge to you, Krishna consciousness, what did you do? So Prabhupada explains in the purport. I don't know how many of you all are going back and actually reading the purports of Srila Prabhupada, but Srila Prabhupada's purports are so wonderful. More than the translation, Prabhupada's purports are the real bliss. So Prabhupada explains here, see, Vyasadeva is a disciple of Narada, correct? So Vyasadeva is eager to know what did Narada Muni do after initiation. There is a process called Diksha or initiation, right? So many people feel that initiation is everything. My aim in life, spiritual life, is to get initiation. But Prabhupada is explaining here, initiation is just the start. The word initiation means what? Just the start. What is more important is what you do after initiation. So Vyasadeva wants to hear from Narada what did he do after he met the sadhus. So we all are fortunate because we have come in association of devotees, we have got the seed of bhakti. But what is important is after we get the seed of bhakti, what do we do? That's what is important. So how do we practice bhakti throughout our life? That is the test. In order to achieve Krishna, one has to be very consistent and very determined in the process. Right? Someone may start the path of bhakti, but the question is whether someone will be able to continue the path of bhakti. So starting the path of bhakti is great, but greater than that is to continue the path of bhakti. So therefore Vyasadeva is asking from his guru. And Prabhupada explaining here, Sadharma Paricha. So this is the start of bhakti where a disciple is asking questions to a guru. He wants to know the life of his guru after Diksha. Text 3. Swayambhuva kaya vritya Vartitam te param vaya Katam chedam udash rakshi Kale prapte kalevaram. So he's asking, how did you pass your life after initiation? And how did you attain this spiritual body of Narada? So Prabhupada is explaining here, Narada's life is a very interesting life because he was born as a son of a maid servant, and we saw in the previous chapter he didn't even have money in his house, he didn't even have money to go to a proper school. So from being a son of a maid servant, he's attained the most highest spiritual body of Narada, the perfection. So Vyasadeva wants to understand all this. And why is Vyasadeva asking this question? So that through the mouth of Narada, we also get a clue. Whatever your birth may be, if you follow a certain process, the process that Narada followed, we also can attain a perfection. So what is perfection in this world? Perfection matlab siddhi, right? What is the highest perfection? The highest perfection is to get a spiritual body, where you don't have any obstacles at all. See, in this world, we are practicing bhakti with a material body. But this body has a lot of obstructions to follow the process of bhakti. If you want to chant Hare Krishna throughout the day, but will your body allow you? The body will want rest. The body will need to eat, right? So body is important. We are using this body, but actual bhakti comes when we are in the spiritual body. There only we can actually practice spiritual life. So Prabhupada is explaining here that real perfection is to enter into our spiritual body. So therefore Vyasadeva is very eager and he's asking this question not only for his benefit. He is already a great soul. Vyasadeva is asking this question for all our benefit. So this chapter is very important for us. What should a sincere disciple do? If someone wants to attain this perfection of Narada, if one wants to have a spiritual body where he can travel anywhere and just meet Krishna, talk to Krishna face to face, what that person has to do, the facts and the actual technology, that spiritual technology is revealed here. Text 4. प्राकल्प विषयानेतान् स्मृतिं ते मुनि सत्तम नहि एष व्यवधात काल एष सर्व निराकृति. So Vyasadeva has a very interesting question. My dear great sage, time destroys everything. With time, all memory, everything is destroyed. But how did you remember something so freshly? Narad Muni is describing the whole thing as if it happened yesterday. But it happened in the previous kalpa. What does the previous kalpa mean? 1000 yuga cycles before. 1000 yuga cycles before something happened and Narad Muni is remembering as if it happened yesterday. So Vyasadeva is very interested to understand this. How is your memory so fresh, undisturbed by time? So these are the 3-4 questions he is asking. The first question is, how did you pass your life after the sadhus left? Second is, how did you attain this spiritual body? And how did you remember something that happened in a previous kalpa? These are the 3 questions that Vyasadeva is asking. Now from text 5 on till 10, Narad Muni speaks about his mother's departure. This is a very emotional and a very shocking story, but it's also a story where Krishna is bringing this boy closer towards him. Krishna has his own ways of bringing someone closer. We may not understand Krishna's ways, but we should have faith in Krishna's ways. So Narada is explaining how his mother departs and how he became more and more dependent on Krishna. Text 5. Narada uvacha bibhukshubhir vipravashite vijnane drishtbhir mama vartamano vayasi adhe tata etad akarasham. So Narad Muni is beginning the story. After the sages departed to different places, I had to pass my life in this way. So Prabhupada explains here that, see, Guru or a sadhu can give you spiritual knowledge. They can give you initiation, they can give you entry into the path of bhakti. But they cannot be with you always. You have to follow what instructions they give. That is a great sage. These sadhus gave knowledge to this boy, 5-year-old boy, and they left. They left because they can't just preach to him, they have to continue ahead. Now it is up to this boy whether he wants to follow it or not. So this is a very, very important point. Like Srila Prabhupada, when Srila Prabhupada went to America, Prabhupada started the first center, our first ISKCON center in New York. Right? A bachelor's gift. Prabhupada had a shop there where he would conduct these classes. 4-5 months passed and the boys and girls had begun to chant and everything. Prabhupada told these boys and girls, I'm going to San Francisco to start another center. So these boys and girls said, Prabhupada, if you go, how will we practice bhakti? Prabhupada said, I've already told you all what to do. Now you all follow. Prabhupada went ahead and these boys sincerely followed the instruction that Prabhupada gave him. So similarly here, what is most important is the sadhus will bring us to a certain point. After that, we will have to follow it on our own. Krishna doesn't tell Arjuna that I will fight for you. Krishna gave instructions to Arjuna, but Arjuna had to fight for himself. Similarly, the sadhus will inspire us with their knowledge, with their realizations, but it is up to us to follow. They will not do it for us. The sadhus will tell us chant Hare Krishna, but it is up to us to chant. They are not going to chant for us. Right? So we have to do it on our own. Just like in flight now, when a pilot is taught how to fly, there is a whole theoretical session that happens, how to fly a plane, what are the various buttons and everything. There is artificial simulation. But once you fly, once you are in the sky, you are on your own. You learn everything and then you fly on your own. Similarly, sadhus will help us to a certain point and then we have to take off. So now Narad Muni from text 6 is beginning his story. Ekatmaja me janani Yoshin muda cha kinkari मयि आत्मजे नन्यगतो चक्रे स्नेहानुबंधनम. Narada is saying, I was the only son of my mother. He didn't have any siblings, the only son. And my mother, she was a very simple woman. Yosin Muda cha Kinkari. Muda means foolish, Muda is also simple. She was a very simple lady, very innocent lady. And what was the job she was doing? Kinkari. She was a maid servant. So can you imagine the parentage of this boy? Son of a maid servant. Mother was illiterate, this boy is illiterate, hardly any money in the house. He is born from such a parentage. And because he was the only son, the mother gave him a lot of love and affection. Sneha to bandhanam. She bound this boy with a tie of affection. She was very, very affectionate to this child. But it so happened that, he says in the next shloka, Shashwant tantra na kalpasid yogakshemam mamechati ishasya hi vashe loko yosha daru mayata. So Narada is saying, she loved me a lot. She wanted to maintain me properly. She wanted to take care of me. But no one is independent in this world. Right? Everyone is dependent on Krishna. Ultimately, Krishna is the one who is controlling. And he is giving here an example. Yosha daru mayi yata. Just like a wooden doll or a puppet is controlled by a puppet master, similarly, Krishna is controlling everyone. We may have our plans, but Krishna's plans may be completely different. Just day before, yesterday, I don't know, I was telling you all, there was one boy who stays right in front of our ashram. I think I've been telling you all about him. Vishnu, this very, very young boy, chanting like 16 rounds. He used to come to our center every day. He would offer agarbatti, offer prayers to Jagannath. Very nice boy. Joined the commando. I think he was the commando terrorist. You know Vishnu? Yeah, Rodi knows. So he was a terrorist commando or something like that. Anti-terror squad. So he, probably his age would have been less than 30 for sure, maybe 25, 27. He went to a swimming pool to, swim along with his colleagues. He jumped into the swimming pool, the water was less. He broke his neck, the spine broken. He was there in GMC for 6 months. Literally now the spine is like everything is controlled in the spine only. So one by one the organs started to fail, and day before he just passed away. So you don't know, and the height is that, in their family there is father, mother and 2 sons. Vishnu is one of them. The mother went to see this boy, Vishnu, and seeing his condition, she passed away before only. And no one could tell Vishnu that the mother is gone, because seeing that he will not be able to handle the shock. He also passed away. I mean, what is Krishna's plan? You really, really don't know. So Narada Muni is saying here, we may have our own plans, but ultimately we are just a doll in Krishna's hands. So Narada's mother, she had some plans for this boy. She tried her best to maintain this boy, but everyone is controlled by Krishna in the form of time. And then he says in text 8, Aham cha tat brahma kule Ushivam samstat upekshaya Digdesha kala vipanno Balaka panchahayana. So Narada Muni is saying, I was just a mere child of 5 years. I lived in a Brahmana's house, and my mother had a lot of affection for me. But because we didn't have any money, we never went anywhere outside that village. So Narada's entire life was that village, because he didn't have any money to go anywhere outside. But suddenly Krishna's plan was completely different. Text 9. Ekada nirgatam gehat Duhantim nishigampati सर्पो दशात् पदा स्पृष्टा कृपणा कालचोदिता. So he says, one night, once upon a time, one particular night, my mother was going out to milk a cow. Duhantim nishigampati. Nishi is the night, Duhantim matlab to go and milk a cow. And suddenly, Sarpo Tashat Padas Prishta, a snake bit her and she passed away. So he says, Kripana Kala Chodita. So this snake was actually the snake of time. So here, the word Ekada, what does Ekada means? Once upon a time, she was going out completely careless. Suddenly a snake bit her and she died. So all of us, we will have some reason why we will pass away. Ekada. Just like I was telling the story of Vishnu. Once upon a time, he went to swim in the swimming pool and that was like a massive disaster for him. So all of us will have a certain point that will completely change our reality of life. And that time is going to come. Srila Prabhupada was there in Mayapur. Mayapur is our headquarters of ISKCON. And Prabhupada was there in one of the buildings on the rooftop walking. And as Prabhupada was walking with his disciples, he saw a snake there. Very poisonous snake. So Prabhupada asked his disciples, you know what this means? The disciples didn't understand what is the answer of it. So Prabhupada said, just imagine, whoever thought that the snake will reach the rooftop? How can a snake climb and come? But Prabhupada said, this is how death is. Death will definitely come. Wherever you are, however secure you are, when the right time has to come, it will definitely hit. And there will be some reason or the other through which it will happen, but it will definitely happen. So she was going to milk a cow and suddenly a serpent bit her. Prabhupada writes a brilliant purport. Prabhupada writes, this is the way of dragging a sincere soul nearer to God. This boy, Narada, 5-year-old boy, was only dependent on his affectionate mother. There was no one else in his life. And Krishna took that mother also. Why? Because to make this boy completely dependent on Krishna. So Prabhupada writes here, Krishna's plan we cannot understand. We have to trust Krishna's plan. We have to just trust Krishna's plan that Krishna has some way or the other to pull us closer to Him. In the 11th canto, we are in the first canto of Bhagavatam. In the 11th canto of Bhagavatam, there is something called Uddhav Gita, where Lord Krishna is explaining Uddhava. And Lord Krishna says there, Yasyaham anugrinami harishye taddanam shanai. You know what this means? It means that when Krishna has a special mercy on someone, what Krishna does, you know? Krishna takes everything from that person. When Krishna has little mercy, he gives you. But when Krishna has lot of love and affection for you, what Krishna does? He takes everything. Why? Why does Krishna do that? Because Krishna wants that devotee to be completely dependent on him. So this 5-year-old boy was dependent on his mother. Now that mother only is gone. So this boy has no other choice other than to depend on Krishna. So this is how Krishna's special mercy is. So you see text 10. This is a very important shloka. Tada tad aham ishasya bhaktanam sham abhipshata anugraham manyamanaha pratistam disham uttara. I mean, this is a great realization for a 5-year-old boy. Even highly learned people don't come to this realization. So for him, his mother, only one who is dependent on, she is only God. This boy could have cried. This boy could have blamed Krishna. He could have done so many things. But here it says, Anugraham Manyamanaha. How did Narada Muni take this? He took this as a special mercy of Krishna. Why? Because the Lord, Bhaktanam sam abhipshataha. The Lord will always desire welfare for His devotees. Whether we understand or not, but Krishna always desires welfare. Just like a child, the father takes the child to a doctor and the father tells the doctor, put him an injection. And the child may be thinking, what kind of cruel father? He's telling the doctor, put an injection, the injection is so painful. But the father knows what the child needs. Sometimes the father may give a child chocolate, but sometimes the father may give a child injection. Because both chocolate injection is meant for the welfare of the child. So what is Krishna's plan for us, we will not understand. But Krishna knows what we need at what time. And Krishna gives that. So this is a very important verse. When difficulties come in life, see, some problem or the other is going to come in everyone's life, whether you are a devotee or not. What does a devotee do? When difficulties come in life, when trials, tribulations come in life, devotee sees this as a mercy of Krishna. He doesn't complain. He sees this as a mercy of Krishna. We will see towards the end of this canto, this is the story of Narada, how he is seeing his mother's death as a mercy of Krishna. We will see at the end of this canto the example of Parikshit, 18th, 19th chapter of this canto. Parikshit, when he is cursed that he will die in 7 days, Parikshit is also seeing that as a mercy of Krishna. Probably Krishna is teaching me detachment. Let me go and hear Bhagavatam. So this is what we have to cultivate through hearing Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam doesn't ensure us that our life is going to be smooth. But Bhagavatam ensures us how we will be able to see the difficulties. So that's what Bhagavatam does. It doesn't change situations. It gives us the vision, the perspective to see those situations. And a devotee means he is always grateful. He is never complaining. He is always grateful. Lord Brahma, in the 10th canto Bhagavatam, 14th chapter, when Brahma is coming to Vrindavan and offering prayers to Lord Krishna, there is a very beautiful shloka he says. He says, Tatteno kampacha sumikshamano Gunjana evatma kritam vipakam Hridva vapubir vidadam namaste Jivet yo mukti sadhaibhak. Brahmaji says, any devotee who is always thanking Krishna for the good times and especially thanking Krishna even for the bad times. My dear Krishna, I am thankful to you. I don't understand why it is happening, but you definitely have a plan. So Brahmaji says, anyone who sees Krishna's plan and is grateful to Krishna, such a person can get into the spiritual world. So this is the first very important lesson Narada Muni is teaching us. Even tribulations when it comes in life, we have to learn to see it in a positive way. And Prabhupada is saying here, ordinary people will not be able to understand. Ordinary people will not be able to understand that, Baba, this fellow is practicing bhakti, why is so many problems coming in his life? Ordinary people cannot understand. Prabhupada is saying here, only confidential devotees of the Lord see in every step a benedictory direction of the Lord. Only our devotees cannot understand this. Mundane, materialistic people cannot understand what is Krishna's plan. So Narada Muni starts to walk towards the north. Can you imagine this? This is the power of hearing from sadhus. This boy developed so much maturity. A 5-year-old boy developing this sense of maturity, this sense of detachment is not easy. Is it easy? Not easy. In those days, walking in the jungle, actually walking in the jungle. It's not like a made scene of jungle. It's actually a jungle, very scary place. But this boy just started to walk towards the north. Why? Only 4 months of sadhu sangha. In those 4 months, he heard properly. Naturally, detachment, naturally, realization started to come. So when we hear Krishna Katha, when we read Gita Bhagavatam attentively, you will get realizations beyond your age. Like we have people who become elderly, age passes, their body becomes old, but they don't become wise. No one becomes intelligent, no one becomes wise. Wisdom doesn't come with the passing of age. Some amount of wisdom comes, but real wisdom comes when we are in the association of sadhus. So this 5-year-old boy became so realized, so detached, he started to walk towards the north. And what happens when he goes, what is the various things that he sees on his journey? He explains from text 11. Spitan janapadam statra puragrama vrajakaran kheta kharvata vatishta vanani upavanani cha. So we saw in the 2 shlokas before he explained that he never had any experience of different lands. He had never gone out of his village at all. First time he is going out of his village. In one sense, he is exploring the world first time alone, and that too without any money. He's just walking and walking. What does he see? He says, Spitan Janapadam Statra. What is Janapadan? Janapadan means cities, big cosmopolitan cities, metropolises. He says Pura. Pura means town. You have a city and you have a town. Grama is a village, right? City, town, village. Vrajakaran. Vrajakaran is big farms. Vraja is big farms. Akaran is mines, huge mines he sees. Keta, he sees agricultural lands, valleys, flower gardens, forests, small nurseries, everything. So Prabhupada writes something very interesting. What is this description? Narad Muni is telling what he saw on the way when he was going towards the north, the Himalayas, what he saw on the way. And when is this? This happened in the previous Kalpa. Previous Kalpa means 1000 Yuga cycles ago. So Prabhupada is mentioning a very nice point. What is Prabhupada saying, He's saying 1000 Yugas also, 1000 Yuga cycles also, before also, the same things were there. What we are seeing now, cities, towns, villages, this is not something new. In creation, these things keep happening again and again. We may be very proud that we have created a big city, this, that, and we may feel that human civilization, we have made it advanced. But Prabhupada is saying this is nothing great. These things keep happening in a cycle. Nothing to be astonished about. History just repeats itself. Narada, what is the lesson that we are supposed to focus on now? See, Narada is a 5-year-old boy. First time he is going out of his village. He is seeing big cities, towns, and so many things. He is seeing minerals. He is seeing mines of gold, silver, everything. But he doesn't stop anywhere. He keeps walking and walking. So Prabhupada is saying here, after getting an impetus in spiritual life, Narad Muni, even though a mere child, did not waste a single moment with economic development, even though he passed through industries, mines, villages, etc. So, this is a very important quality Narad Muni is teaching us, the quality of focus. The quality of focus. He saw cities, he could have settled in one of the cities. He saw mines of gold, silver, he could have settled there. But he just kept walking and walking and walking because his goal was very, very clear. He didn't want to get settled, he didn't want to get caught in all this materialistic world. What else he sees on the way? Text 12. Chitradhatu vichitradrin iba bhagna bhujadruman jalashayan chilvachalam nalini surasevita chitraswaner patrarater vibramat brahmarashriya. Can you imagine this? He passed through hills and mountains which were filled with gold, silver, copper, and he passed through various tracts of land which had beautiful flowers, bees and birds. Probably if we were in Narad Muni's position, we would have settled in one of those mining areas, right? Where there's gold mine, silver mine. But Narad Muni was very, very focused. And it was unexplored mines. He would have become literally the king. People mine is given by whom? Krishna. And people mine and become like millionaire trillionaires. I mean, Krishna has given them the mine. People use Krishna's mine and become millionaires, trillionaires. Right? And for you to give Krishna, people don't have an heart. Here this boy is just walking and walking, completely detached. In the next shloka it said, Nalaveno Sharastamba Kusha Kichaka Gharvaran Eka Evatityato Akarsham Vipraman Mahat Goram Pratibhya Yakaram Vyaluloka Shivajiram. He passed through many forests, which bamboo reeds, sharp grass, caves, and places which were very difficult to go alone. He didn't have any companion. He's going through literally thick jungles. He went through such deep, deep dangerous forests where there were wild animals, snake, owls, jackals, and he's just walking and walking. Prabhupada is explaining here, Narad Muni is showing here the duty of a mendicant or anyone who's in the renounced order of life. He should travel alone and experience different part of God's creation and not get attached. And Prabhupada is saying here, a sannyasi, his duty, Narad Muni is in the mood of sannyasi, is in the mood of renunciation. The duty of a sannyasi is to take all risk without any fear. Sannyasi means he is completely fearless. Because he is dependent on Krishna, he knows that Krishna will take care. So this is an ideal sannyasi. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Prabhupada gives that example. When Mahaprabhu was walking through the Jharikand jungle, he was walking fearlessly. He went through places where there were tigers, wild elephants, but Mahaprabhu was fearless. So Prabhupada is saying here, we may not be able to imitate this. What is the lesson? The lesson is not that we should walk through jungles completely fearless. The lesson is that for all of us, we have to experience some kind of fearlessness, especially in the preaching movement. Srila Prabhupada at the age of 70, fearlessly, Prabhupada went to America without any contact. Because Prabhupada was dependent on Krishna. And when you are dependent on Krishna on that level, some reciprocation comes. Something or the other Krishna will send. Just last Wednesday, we had the Pune devotees share their experiences of book distribution. So they were saying that this December month, the November end, December month, devotees all over the world go and try to do Gita distribution as much as possible. So they were going to some places in Gujarat. They didn't have any contact. They didn't even know where they would sleep in the night. But suddenly someone comes from ahead and calls them to their house, gives them food, gives them a bike. So when you take your first step in Krishna's service, you will see Krishna reciprocating. So real magic, real reciprocation of Krishna you will experience when you take some risk for Krishna. This is a very, very important point Prabhupada is making here. Without taking any risk, we will never grow in life. We will never become successful in life. See, if Narad Muni had to stay in his own house, if he didn't take any risk, he wouldn't have got the body of Narada. If Srila Prabhupada had to stay in his own house, if Prabhupada never went to America taking all this risk, we wouldn't have ISKCON now. So any great person who's become great, he has taken some risk for preaching, for pushing on the Krishna conscious movement. So the lesson for all of us is, we have to come out of our comfort zone. What does risk mean? Risk means coming out of our comfort zone. We all have our comfort zone where we are stuck in, right? The comfort zone may be, I don't want to chant more rounds. That may be a comfort zone. The comfort zone may be, we don't want to come for a satsang on a more regular basis. We don't want to read books. We all have our own comfort zone. We have to slightly push us away from our comfort zone. We have to keep pushing ourselves. When we do that, we can actually experience Krishna. So this boy, completely fearless, he was just walking and walking, passing through thick jungles. He's seeing good things, bad things, but either way he's not attached. He's just walking and walking. So when he's walking like this, what happens is, Narad Muni sits in a certain place after taking his bath. Text 14. Parishrantendriyatmaham Tritparito bubukshita Snatva pitva hriday nadhya Upasprishto gatashrama. So while walking like this, Narad became tired bodily, mentally. Walking alone, walking to all these places is not easy. So he was thirsty, he was hungry. So he saw a river lake. So he took a bath there and he drank that water and got rid of his exhaustion. See, nature is so beautiful. However tired you may be, when you go and see a beautiful lake or you see something very nice, refreshing, all your tiredness just vanishes. So Prabhupada explains here, for a sadhu to maintain bodily needs is not very difficult. He doesn't have to beg, because there is naturally things are being provided. Yesterday we were in Gujarat, this Saurashtra area. We was visiting some Goshalas. So we were going to places where cows go for herding, like deep inside jungles. And in all these places you get these fruits, na? Unlimited trees with fruits. You can just go and eat these berries unlimitedly. So Prabhupada is explaining here, in one sense, for a mendicant, these things are naturally available. There is some lake somewhere, there is some water body, there is some fruits, you just depend on that and just keep going. So in this way, Narada, what he does is, takes 15. Tasmin nirmanuje ranye pipalopashta ashrita atmanatmanam atmastam yatashrutam achintayam. So he took his bath in this lake, he drank water, and he saw a banyan tree. And it's an uninhabited forest, no one around. So this boy sat under this banyan tree and he started to meditate. So banyan trees have a different vibrations altogether. Banyan trees are considered very, very auspicious. Once you go there now, your mind immediately helps you be very focused on Krishna. So Narada Muni sat to meditate. And how did he meditate? Yata shrutam achintayam. Yata shrutam means the process of meditation that was taught by these sadhus. So this is a very, very important point. Very important point. So what we are doing is, the reason we are trying to go slow is, I'm not rushing through this chapter, I'm going a little slow, not very slow also. The reason is because we are trying to find various things that this boy did so that he got this body of Narada. What did he do? What are the various steps that he did so that he got this divine body? So we saw various things. One, we saw that this boy was completely, whatever happened in his life, he saw it as Krishna's mercy. Right? He passed through gold mines, silver mines, he's passing through cities, but he's not detached. He's very, very focused. He's just walking on and on. Now we are seeing another very, very important point. He's sitting to meditate. But what does he meditate and how does he meditate? The way it has been taught to him by great sadhus. So Prabhupada explains a very important point here. One should not meditate according to his personal ideas. And people have their own ideas. You ask anyone, they will say, I meditate. And how do you meditate? Who has taught you this meditation? From where have you learned? No clue. People think they're just closing their eyes and thinking of nothing or thinking of a point in meditation. This kind of meditation is not going to help. So Prabhupada is explaining here, one should learn from great sadhus how to meditate. And when those sadhus came to this boy's house and they were teaching him the process of meditation, they were not teaching him what they thought was correct. What they were teaching him, what they had heard from their own gurus. So we are seeing a Guru Shishya Parampara here. Right? So in this whole Bhagavatam till now we have been seeing Sutta Goswami is reciting Bhagavatam to Shaunakadi Rishi. What does Sutta Goswami recite? What he has heard from Shukdev. And what is Shukdev telling Parikshit? What he has heard from Vyasdev. And what is Vyasdev telling? What he has heard from Narad Muni. That's the story. And what is Narad Muni telling? What he has heard from Brahma. And what is Brahma repeating? What he has heard from Lord Krishna. This is the Guru Shishya Parampara. No one manufactures a new system. So Prabhupada explains in many places, religion cannot be manufactured. I have created a new religion. You can create a new phone, but you cannot create a new religion. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranditam. What is dharma is what is told by Krishna is recorded in the scriptures. So Prabhupada is mentioning a very important point. One has to learn to meditate from an authoritative source. If you learn to meditate here and there, you are not going to get the result. So as Narad Muni is sitting to meditate, what happens? Text 16. Dhyayatas charanambhojam bhava nirjita chetasa Otkantayashru kalakasya Hridi asin me shanir hari. So Narad Muni is telling here, what did he meditate on? Dhyayatas charana bhojam. So what did he meditate on? He meditated on the lotus feet of the Lord. He is not meditating on nothingness. He is not meditating on a point. What does meditation mean? Whom you have to meditate on? You have to meditate on Krishna only. You have to maintain on this. We are seeing this story. We will see in Bhagavatam again and again. The story of Dhruva, the story of so many personalities. Whenever these great personalities have sat to meditate, they have always sat to meditate on Krishna. Prabhupada is saying to meditate, you have to meditate on someone who has a form. Like now if I tell you, close your eyes and meditate on air. What will you meditate on air? Or close your eyes and meditate on vacuum. What will you meditate on? But if I tell you close your eyes and meditate on the form of Krishna, there's something to meditate on. Right? So to meditate, you have to have a form. And who is that form? That form is of Krishna. So here he says, as soon as he began to meditate, his mind transformed. Bhava nirjitta chetasa. So the whole idea of spirituality is to transform the mind. And his heart became filled with love. So ultimately, what are we looking for? We are looking for that love for Krishna. And how will that come? When we follow the process of meditation. And in Kali Yuga, the meditation that works is the meditation of chanting, japa meditation. When we sit to chant, gradually tears or love for Krishna will come. And what are the symptoms that you have love for Krishna? Otkanteya ashru kala kasya. His eyes were filled with love. These are not artificial tears, these are natural tears. And Krishna became situated in his heart. So Prabhupada is explaining here the word bhava is significant. Bhava nirjitta chetasa. Bhav means affection for Krishna, emotions for Krishna. When does this come? Prabhupada is saying when you follow the process. What is the process Narad Muni followed? So at this point, he is developing emotions for Krishna. What are the emotions? When you have this stage of bhava, it's called Ashta Sattvika Bhav. When you have love for Krishna, you will have tears coming from your eyes. Your body will tremble, your voice will get choked up. All these different kinds of emotions. But when this will come, Rupa Goswami has explained the whole process that Narad Muni is teaching through his example. Adho Shraddha, Tata Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, Nishta, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhav, Prem. So it all begins with Sadhu Sangha, association of devotees, with little faith. So this is how this boy's journey has started. So Prabhupada explains in the purport, he met sadhus. The sadhus told him to follow Bhajana Kriya. He followed that process. He became attached to Krishna. His faith increased more and gradually symptoms of love have appeared. So this is the process that we have to follow if you want to achieve this kind of experience. Then he says, Premati bhara nirbinna Pulakango trinivrata Ananda samplavelino Napashyan bayam mune. So now he is seeing Krishna face to face. He is not seeing Krishna just in imagination. He is seeing Krishna face to face. Krishna appeared in front of him. So when Krishna appeared in front of him, so he's Narada is describing Vyasdev, I was feeling so happy, exceedingly happy, that every part of my body became enlivened. And I was absorbed in an ocean of ecstasy and I just lost myself completely in it. So the word Leena means merged or absorbed. What does Leena mean? Narada Muni was completely absorbed seeing the beauty of Krishna. So Prabhupada explains here in the purport, such spiritual feelings cannot be described by words. What Narada Muni is trying to describe it, but you cannot describe it. What it is, what is the feeling of seeing Krishna face to face, you cannot describe it in words. You have to actually experience it. There's a book called Madhurya Kadambini written by one of our great acharyas, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So he gives you an idea what happens when we actually enter into the spiritual world and see Krishna first time. So as I told you, if you follow the process of bhakti, we will all enter into Golok Vrindavan, where we will actually see Krishna. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains there, when a living entity, a devotee, bhakta, enters into Golok Vrindavan, Krishna comes running to welcome this devotee. And first time a living entity is seeing Krishna. When he is seeing Krishna through his spiritual eyes, the eyes are not in a position to handle Krishna's beauty. But Krishna is so beautiful, how can your eyes handle it? all the senses, ears, nose, tongue, all of them want to experience Krishna's beauty. They all rushed into the eyes. And all the senses through the eyes are experiencing Krishna's beauty. And this devotee seeing Krishna, he just cannot handle that beauty. He falls unconscious. He just can't handle it. So that time suddenly the devotee is awakened. You know what he's awakened by? He's awakened by the smell of Krishna, because Krishna has come right next to him and Krishna has a divine fragrance. So when he is first time smelling Krishna's fragrance, all the senses rush to the nose, and all the senses want to experience Krishna's fragrance. And again he falls unconscious because he's not able to handle Krishna's fragrance. And then Krishna comes and touches this devotee. And when Krishna touches the devotee, all the senses rush to that skin and they want to experience Krishna's touch. And again the devotee falls unconscious. So the point is, as Srila Prabhupada explains here, every limb becomes separately enlivened. See, we all have our senses. We want to experience bliss through our senses. The eyes want to see something beautiful, the ears want to hear something beautiful. But there is nothing more beyond than Krishna. There's nothing beyond Krishna's beauty. There's nothing beyond Krishna's voice, beautiful sound of Krishna. There's nothing beyond Krishna's beautiful fragrance. There's nothing beyond it. So all the senses become so very happy. And Narad Muni just lost himself completely in this. He just got merged into the beauty of Krishna. And then in text 18 he describes Rupam Bhagavato Yattan Mana Kantam Shuchapaham Apashyam Sahat Sotaste Vaiklavya Drumana Iva. So he says, Rupam Bhagavato Yattan Manaha Kantam Shuchapaham. If you remember in the last class, I was describing the point. When Narad Muni is describing Vyasadev and he's inspiring Vyasadev to write the glories of Krishna, practically in every verse, Narad Muni is using the word Bhagavato, Bhagavato. Everywhere he's using it, making the point that one has to meditate on a form of Krishna. So here Narad Muni is saying that transcendental form of Krishna, Rupam Bhagavato Yattan Manakantam Shuchapaham. When we see that form of Krishna, what happens? One is the mind is completely satisfied and all material impurities go away. So two things Narad Muni is explaining here. When you see Krishna, first is your mind is completely satisfied and all anarthas that are there in our heart disappear immediately. But what happened was, Narad Muni saw Krishna, but suddenly he lost that form. Krishna gave darshan and Krishna darshan went away. Like when you all go to Banke Bihari temple, Vrindavan or some other temple, right? I think even in Nathdwara, darshan दिखाते हैं and suddenly darshan बंद करते हैं. Why they do that? To increase your intensity also, है कि नहीं? Suddenly आप दर्शन देख रहे हो, suddenly screen बंद हो गया, मतलब your eagerness increases. So Narad Muni is seeing Krishna and suddenly the darshan went away. So Narad Muni is becoming very, very anxious to see that form again. So Prabhupada is explaining here a very important point. I'm just reading from the purport. Hear this. For the whole duration of our life, we go see different forms in the material world. But none of them is apt to satisfy the mind, nor can any one of them vanish all the perturbance of the mind. So Prabhupada is saying, in our whole life, we keep seeing newer and newer forms, newer and newer beauties, but nothing can satisfy the mind. And nothing can remove all the anarthas of the mind. But Prabhupada is saying here, the form of Krishna is the only form that can satisfy our heart and mind completely. So this is a very important point, that if you want to experience that satisfaction, we have to experience the form of Krishna. So Narad Muni saw that form and that form disappeared. And Narad Muni became completely restless. Just imagine if someone has given you 1 crore rupees and next moment he takes it away from you. The person will become completely mad. So Narad Muni got the darshan of Krishna and the darshan disappeared. So Narad Muni became very, very perturbed. Text 19 he says, Didikshus tat aham bhuya pranidhaya manoradhi vikshamanopi na pashyam avitripta ivatura. Avitripta means without satisfied. Atura means aggrieved, they are very eager. See Krishna, once you see Krishna, it is said you will be satisfied, but you will never be satisfied. Why? Because you will want to see Krishna again and again. Right? Once you get the darshan of Krishna, you cannot live without Krishna. Just like Mahaprabhu says, Shunyaitam Jagat Sarvam Govinda Virahe Name. Once you get a taste of Govinda Krishna, without Krishna, the entire world will seem like a zero, useless. You will want to see that form again and again. So Narad Muni was not satisfied seeing Krishna once. Just like I remember when I went to Nathdwara, right, to have darshan of Srinath ji. एक बार दर्शन लेने से मन भरता नहीं. People keep going again and again. Right? We were in Dwarkadish temple also. We were having darshan, night darshan. So we went because in the night the queue reduces. So we went to have one darshan. We came out having another darshan, third darshan. The security people got mad. आप ISKCON वाले तो बार-बार आ रहे हैं. They said one more darshan, finally end. Krishna's darshan is such that once you have, you want to have it more and more. So Narad Muni is not seeing a deity of Krishna, he is seeing Krishna himself. But suddenly that darshan went away. Narad Muni's eagerness is increasing. So what Narad Muni does is, he tries again. He did meditation, the way sadhus taught him, he had darshan of Krishna. He tried the same process again. But now darshan didn't come. So Prabhupada is mentioning another very important point. We saw one point, if you have to see Krishna, what you have to do? You have to follow the meditation process taught by great sadhus. Now Prabhupada is saying another very important point. What is that point? You cannot see Krishna through a mechanical process. So you may have a formula, right? This is what it is explained in the scriptures. Follow this, you will be able to see Krishna, right? But even if you follow it, there is no guarantee that you can see Krishna. There is no guarantee. Anything? Any issue? AC? So there is no guarantee you can see Krishna. Because Krishna's mercy comes when Krishna wants. You getting the point? So this is another very important principle. Bhakti is not a formula to crack. You may have, the formula is open. Krishna is saying follow the path of bhakti. But even if you do everything perfectly, when Krishna's mercy will come, it depends only on Krishna. You cannot challenge Krishna. Krishna, I followed all this for so long, give me mercy. You cannot demand. You cannot demand. You can only beg. Like beggars, beggars, what they can do, they can only go and beg sincerely. They cannot tell that you have to give now. I've been begging for 2 days, now give me. You can't do that. If you do that, that fellow will say, I'll never give you. Get out. So beggars can only beg. Sincerely beg for Krishna to give the darshan. You cannot do anything more than that. Prabhupada gives an example here. Just like the sun, right? If it's in the night, can you tell the sun, rise now? You cannot do. The sun will rise on its own accord. You can only wait for the sun to rise. That's all you can do. So when Krishna's mercy will come, that depends on Krishna. Therefore, Krishna is called independent Swarat. You cannot question Krishna. Krishna's mercy will come. So Prabhupada is saying there is no mechanical process. It completely depends on Krishna's mercy. Burijan Prabhu, one of Srila Prabhupada's disciples, he's written a book called Japa. How to chant. So because we saw ultimately the highest meditation is chanting. So Burijan Prabhu in this book explains various tips how to chant better. But then he explains that ultimately it depends on Krishna's mercy. You may do everything perfectly, you may try to hear every mantra attentively, you may try to bring the mind back to hearing, everything you may do. But if Krishna's mercy is not there, you will not able to experience that bliss. So we are completely dependent on Krishna's mercy. We are completely helpless. Right? And when will Krishna's mercy come? Krishna's mercy will come when we are sincere in our service mode. So there's a verse in the scriptures which says, Ata Shri Krishna Namadi Nabave Grayam Indriyai Sevan Mukhehi Jivado Swayam Eva Spuradyada. Krishna's name, fame, form, qualities, you cannot experience through your material senses. How you can see Krishna? When Krishna is pleased through your service attitude. Only through that you can see Krishna. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada's guru, he would often say, don't try to see God. Try to serve God in such a way that God wants to see you. A very beautiful phrase. We cannot demand to see Krishna. We can only please Krishna through a service attitude, and then Krishna will give that darshan. So Narad Muni was trying again and again, but he lost that connection. Right? That's like, no, you are, imagine, I'll tell you what the scene is. Imagine you're watching India-Pakistan World Cup final, and the final over is going on, and suddenly current goes away. Those who can connect to this, we will connect. You will get mad. You will try every different thing to get that thing. If it doesn't come, you are frustrated. So Narad Muni has seen Krishna, and suddenly Krishna is gone. He's trying again and again, but it doesn't come. So then that time what happens? Text 20. Now Krishna begins to speak. Evam yatantam vijane mama gocharo giram gambira shlaknaya vacha shucha prashyamam iva. So the Lord, so Narad Muni was trying alone. And see, at this point, so there's something very interesting. These sadhus told him, you follow the process, you will see Krishna. Okay? So he followed that process, the sadhus gave him. And what was the process? The process of bhakti he followed, he saw Krishna. Now Krishna darshan went away. He's trying again and again, no darshan. Now Narad Muni doesn't have an internet, mobile number of those sadhus. I followed, I saw Krishna, now the darshan went away, what should I do now? There's no connection. There's no connection. You have to have trust in Krishna's plan that Krishna will reveal the answer to you. Srila Prabhupada, when Srila Prabhupada started this movement, you know how Prabhupada started this ISKCON? Young boys and girls came to Srila Prabhupada, like practicing devotees for 1 year, few months. Prabhupada would send them to a different country. Prabhupada started in America, young boys and girls, Prabhupada would tell them, you go to Japan and preach. You go to Africa and preach. Prabhupada would send them. Prabhupada didn't spoon feed them. And it's not that every now and then they were writing to Prabhupada, what should I do now, what should I do now. Prabhupada said, trust Krishna. Krishna will reveal to you. Everything the Guru doesn't have to tell you. Every small thing Guru will not help you. Guru will give you the process, and Guru will help you connect to that super soul Krishna, and then Krishna will also help you. This is the connection. Guru Krishna prasade pai bhakti lata beej. So Guru also helps you, Krishna also helps you. So this boy, 5-year-old boy, is struggling again and again. That time what happens? Seeing this attempt of the Lord started to speak. And how did the Lord speak? Gambira shlakshnaya vacha. With a grave and pleasing word. So the Lord's words are pleasing also, grave also. So this is also a very important point. When does Krishna intervene in our life? When Krishna sees our efforts. When sees our effort, our attempt to attain Krishna. Just like this Damodar Leela, Yashoda is trying so hard, and then finally Krishna's mercy comes. So similarly in our life, we have to put our effort. We may fail n number of times, but Krishna is seeing our attempt. We may not see Krishna, but Krishna is seeing us for sure. So when we keep trying and trying and trying, then Krishna reveals an answer to us. So Prabhupada is explaining the purport. Narad Muni, he got a glimpse of Krishna. He got a darshan of Krishna, but the darshan disappeared. Now what he is seeing, he is not seeing Krishna, he is hearing Krishna. So Prabhupada is explaining a very important point here, that in the initial stages, more than seeing Krishna is to hear Krishna's voice. So Narad Muni got the darshan for a short time, but now the darshan goes away. What he is able to do? He is able to hear Krishna, is not able to see Krishna. So in all our life also, we cannot see Krishna, but we are able to hear Krishna. How we are able to hear Krishna? By reading Bhagavad Gita. What is Bhagavad Gita? Krishna's words. Just like Krishna is speaking to Narada, Krishna is speaking to all of us. Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. When we read Krishna's words, we are hearing Krishna. So when we hear Krishna and follow Krishna's words, we will ultimately have darshan of Krishna. So what does Krishna tell Narada? Text 21. Hantasmin janmani bhavan namam darshum iharati avipakva kashayanam durdashokam kuyoginam. So the Lord is telling Narada. What does he tell Narada? My dear Narada, I am sorry, I regret that this lifetime you will not be able to see me again. You will not be able to see me again. It's like a painful news. And Krishna is telling Narada, I am sorry, this lifetime you will not be able to see me again. Why? Because avipakva kasayanam dudarshoham kuyoginam. Avipakva means immature. Those whose bhakti is immature. Kashayana means one who is filled with material dirt, anarthas. And kuyogina means incomplete in service. So Krishna is saying, because I give you a darshan, that darshan was trial sample. होता है ना? Free sample देता है. Like Jio, when Jio started, they gave like free sample. ठीक है नहीं? बाद में तो बिल आने लगा सबका. That is the way. Krishna भी यही करते हैं. थोड़ा sample देते हैं, free sample, and then after that, for the main thing you have to pay for it. Price pay करना पड़ेगा. So Krishna is telling Narada, I gave you a free sample. Now for the actual thing, you have to pay. You will not get my darshan completely because you are still have some anarthas in your heart. Your bhakti is still incomplete. So Prabhupada explains here, actually Narad Muni was already perfect by now. But Krishna is telling through this example that we will not be able to see Krishna until our heart is completely pure. And sometimes Krishna purposely doesn't give darshan. You know why? Because Krishna wants us to increase our intensity to achieve Him. The same example, just like here, Krishna gave darshan to Narada and then the darshan went away. Similarly, when Lord Krishna was doing Ras Leela with the gopis, you know the story? Sharad Purnima night, Lord Krishna was doing Ras Leela. Suddenly, Krishna disappeared from there. Why Krishna disappeared, you know? Because the gopis started to feel a little proud. They started to feel that I am so special, Krishna is with me. Because they were like lakhs of gopis and Krishna assumed lakhs of forms. But each gopi couldn't see the other form. They were thinking Krishna is only with me. When Krishna saw that ego, Krishna disappeared. And the gopis became mad, just like Narad became mad, searching Krishna, praying for Krishna. And then Krishna finally gave darshan. So when Krishna came again, the gopis asked Krishna, Krishna, why do you do this with devotees, hide and seek? Why you give darshan, suddenly you go away? Why do you make devotees cry like this? Krishna said, I purposely don't give darshan. You know why? Because I want to make the devotees' intensity, eagerness to achieve me, make it more and more. Because when that intensity grows, all anarthas disappear. In this way, Prabhupada is explaining here in the purport that through the example of Narad Muni, the Lord is teaching us to increase our intensity to see Him more and more. Text 22, he says, Sakridyar darshitam rupam etat kamaya tenaga mat kama shanake sadho sarvan munchati rikshayan. I have given you darshan once. This is only to increase your desire to achieve me. Because the more you hanker for me, the more material desires will get vanquished. So this is a very important point. The more we develop intensity to achieve Krishna, the material desires will go away. So Prabhupada is explaining in the purport here, everyone is thinking of someone, everyone is thinking, feeling, willing about someone. So we just have to change the subject matter. Right now we are thinking, feeling, willing about the things of this world. We have to shift that subject matter. We have to think about Krishna. We have to work for Krishna. We have to have feelings for Krishna. When that will become more and more, we will gradually attain that spiritual body. So the idea is, the Lord is teaching us through this example of Narad Muni, how we can spiritualize our consciousness. Prabhupada has named the society International Society for Krishna Consciousness. That means we have to have Krishna more and more in our Chetana. So Krishna gave this one little glimpse to Narada, one darshan, and Krishna took that darshan. So that Narad Muni becomes more and more eager to achieve Krishna. Prabhupada explains here and Prabhupada explains in many other places. This is called Vipralamba Bhav. Yeah, Vipralamba Seva. What is the time, Koji? I think I'll end soon. I don't have much. 45. I'll just end with this point. The rest of it we will continue next time. So Prabhupada explains this mood is called Vipralamba Bhav. You know what is Vipralamba Bhav? That means service in separation. Narad Muni, can you imagine this? For the rest of his life, he never saw Krishna again. But still he is serving Krishna in separation. Krishna left Vrindavan. He told the gopis, I will come back, but Krishna never came back. The gopis, Radharani and all these great gopis, Vrajavasi, they served Krishna in separation. So there is service to Krishna in union. When you are with Krishna, you serve Krishna. And when you are separate from Krishna, you serve Krishna. When you serve Krishna, when Krishna is with you, it's called Sambhog. And when you serve Krishna in separation, it is called Vipralamba. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taught us, if you compare both, service and separation is a greater form of bliss. Because when you are separated from Krishna, you are thinking of Krishna more and more. You are more and more Krishna conscious. So this is the mood of Vipralamba Bhav, service and separation, that Narada is teaching us, the gopis are teaching us, Rup Sanatan and all these Goswamis, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself is teaching us the mood of finding Krishna, searching for Krishna. So Narad Muni's entire life was getting that experience again. We will see towards the end of this canto, Parikshit, when he was in the womb of his mother, he got darshan of Krishna, just like Narad got darshan of Krishna, 5-year-old at this time. Parikshit, in the womb of his mother, he got darshan of Krishna. Krishna personally came, entered his mother's womb to protect this boy. When he came out, because he saw Krishna once, he was not satisfied. He wanted to see Krishna again. So this young small boy, whenever he would see anyone, any male person, especially wearing a yellow dhoti, he would pull their dhoti and see if this is Krishna. So his entire life, his aim was only one, to search that Krishna, to find that form of Krishna. So similarly in our life, we have to develop this intense desire to, this greed to achieve Krishna, then we can see. Imagine if we were in the position of Narada, and if Krishna told us that, you will not get darshan of me again, practice bhakti, then we will see. We will just give up the path of bhakti. Okay? But Narad Muni is so sincere. What is Krishna's plan? He is ready to accept. Krishna is telling him, you wait, he is ready to wait. So Rupa Goswami teaches us, bhakti means utsar nishtaya dhairya. You have to be ready to patiently wait for Krishna's mercy to come. Shabari, her guru told Shabari that Ram will come in Pampa Sarovar in this ashram to give you darshan. Shabari had to wait 18-90 years for Lord Ram to come, and then Lord Ram came. So here Narad Muni is waiting an entire lifetime following Krishna's instruction in separation. And then finally he gets the body of Narada. So from text 23, this chapter has I think 38 verses. Small section left, we will do this the next time. Anyone has any questions, any comments? You all understood? आप लोगों को समझ में आया?
Why Narada Muni was known as Devarishi?
Devarishi because he is the Rishi among demigods. Yeah, he is the Guru among demigods. Among all the Devatas, he is their Guru, he is the Rishi for all the Devatas. Therefore, he is called Devarishi.
Only the Kalpa to the 4 yugas, again the 4 yugas, and one 4 yugas is one Kalpa. Kalpa.
Kalpa is, so Mataji is asking what is a Kalpa? So Kalpa is 1000 yuga cycles. So Satya, Treta, Dwapar, Kali is one Divya Yuga. You multiply that by 1000 is one Kalpa.
4,000. Which one?
No. So I'll tell you how it is. Kali Yuga is 4,32,000 years. You multiply that by 10, it's one Divya Yuga. You multiply by that by 1,000 is one Kalpa. That's basically 12 hours of Brahma. That is that one Kalpa. Okay? ठीक है, और कुछ प्रश्न? Any other questions? ठीक है, we'll stop here. Next week is गीता जयंती. अगला मंडे गीता जयंती है, बहुत शुभ दिन है. Next Monday is Ekadashi, Mokshada Ekadashi. On that day, Lord Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita. So we'll be having, like every year, we'll be doing the recitation of all the 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. All the 18 chapters, shlokas we will recite. Sharp at 7 to 9. Sharp 7 baje shuru ho jayega. People come or not, we start at 7. And next week we'll also try to inspire devotees to take Bhagavad Gitas also. Because that is the day when Lord Krishna spoke Gita. It's a very good day to take Gitas and give it to others also. So next week we'll not have a Bhagavatam session. We will do shloka recitation on the day of Gita Jayanti. And then after that, when we meet, we will continue this chapter. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna.